Oh yeah, Savoir, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news this morning, Housing Authority rocked by corruption claims. Dairy industry facing major hurdle. And our postal services facing major challenges.
From the studios of FBC Suva.
Within 2 years of taking the reign as Minister for Housing, Pramila Kumar is admitting that there is a high level of corruption at the Housing Authority. Speaking to FBC News and not holding back, the minister reveals she was approached by many and questioned about the lots allocated to people in Tadirua and Wainibuku, which were initially set aside for low-income earners. Kumar says amazingly some people had declared that their household income was $20,000. However, they have built two-story buildings in these areas. Pranita Prakash reports the Housing Authority is now tightening the processes.
Legal action is now on the cards for some dishonest Fijians who declared false information to acquire Housing Authority lots.
Who got these lots, what was their income, what they declared on the paper, and so forth. So my question to the Housing Authority team was that how do you decide who should get the lot? And all this while I've been told that there is a system, you put in your application, the system selects, but I realized there is no system and the system does not select. So we are investigating this matter, and once we have concluded the investigation, those applicants who lied, who were not honest, their cases will be reported. We will take the matter to court.
The minister also saying that some Housing Authority staff have been long involved in these corrupt practices.
It's the individual staff who do the selection. Sometimes they give the lot to walk-in customers rather than going through the list of applications they claim they have. And then we have people who come to the office and say, I have put in an application 7 years ago. Now when we go back to the Housing Authority and say, how come so-and-so got the lot and we're not even considered? And then they come to know that the application is not even at Housing Authority. So it's a clear indication that the staff are involved, and they have been giving lots to people who they know, and they tried not to change the policy to make it more transparent.
Much more can be done to improve the transparency in allocating lots and to be fair to everyone who is deserving to be allocated the land and of course the properties by Housing Authority.
Kumar says they have documented these findings and have cross-checked the information with Fiji Revenue and Customs Services and the Fiji National Provident Fund. She says they are also going to Title's office to find out if Fijians who have been allocated lots had other properties, as one of the requirements for Housing Authority is for an individual to be a first home owner. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
The local government ministry has also found that many Fijians occupying and applying for public rental board flats own properties that are on rent. Minister Pramila Kumar says a recent socio-economic survey has revealed there is a lot of dishonesty in the process of how these flats have been given out, as majority of Fijians at the flats exceed the income threshold.
This is what they are doing. Some of them, they own houses. They rent it out because it's cheaper to stay in PRB flats. Why? Because PRB flat is subsidized by the government. So that's what they are doing. So it's a lot of dishonesty. And I expect the public to support and create a fair system so that it's fair to everybody. Right? Unfortunately, we are trying to encourage that people who are dishonest, people who can afford to pay, let them stay in PRB flats. Right? And what we are saying that no.
Following concerns raised by dairy farmers, the Agriculture Ministry has clarified that swift action was taken to eradicate the spread of bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis. Farmers had raised concerns that the testing for the two diseases were not done properly. Kashmir Singh has been a farmer all his life and lost more than 1/3 of his cattle. Singh says a lot of culling was done to remove the infected cattle.
There was a mishap for many years in testing cattle from disease such as TB was one, brucellosis was the other one. This was not carried out for a period of some 1 or 2 decades, not properly done.
Post Fiji Limited noted a 90% decrease in revenue generated over the past 4 months as the operations of the company's essential services were halted. Chief Executive Dr. Aniruddha Bansord says international postal or mail services, which rakes in majority of their revenue, felt the hard hit following travel restrictions and lockdown imposed by most countries. He adds despite the pandemic crippling Fiji's postal services, the company is optimistic that it will return to normalcy in the near future.
The reduction was happening constantly in terms of mails and all this EMS services. We have strategically changed our direction to go into the Post Express. And Post Express is the grocery. Currently we are selling from most of the post shops are selling the grocery. And we are getting a great response from the customers.
The Fiji Ships and Heavy Industries Limited's main source of revenue have been affected due to the COVID-19 pandemic that led to border closure. Fiji Ports Corporation Limited Chief Executive Vajira Piasena says Fiji Ships gained most of its income from vessel refit and the restrictions due to COVID-19 has hindered their work. Piasena says the company has resorted to heavy works and are now providing services at a very low cost.
The other entity that is affected is the Fiji Ships and Heavy Industries, which has this ship repairing because currently the regional vessels can't come in. And so there's an impact there. But we are trying to diversify into more other heavy industry work and also looking at the local the ship owners, providing them concessions and all that.
Fijian Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama yesterday received medical supplies donated by the Fiji-Chinese Friendship Association and the private sector. The supplies will be used in our fight against COVID-19 by our health professionals. Association President Feng Jamnada says the donation, which totals over $136,000, was brought in from China.
I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Fiji to thank you. Thank you for this wonderful donation that will help our frontline workers, assist them in the work that they do every day. And I understand we also need to thank the President of the French Polynesia for assisting us in the transportation of these PPEs. But thank you, Excellency. Thank you very much thank you everyone for helping Fiji with this kind donation. And thank you for that offer in trying to revive the economy in Fiji.
And first of all, let me take this opportunity to warmly sincerely congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister for your strong leadership in combating the COVID-19 during this difficult time. And without your strong leadership, this country cannot be as safe as we are now.
Turning overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump says that anyone caught vandalizing monuments or any other federal property can be subject to arrest and face up to 10 years in prison. Historic monuments and statues have become the targets of anger and vandalism during protests in the wake of George Floyd's police custody death at the end of May. Coming up, Skipper Cup outing will depend on fitness for 7 stars. And NFNRL yet to be accredited.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
The national men's sevens players' fitness will determine whether or not they will be able to join provincial teams for the upcoming Skipper Cup.
They will undergo fitness tests and so forth, and hopefully after the initial period of training, we will then release them to play for their provincial teams, that they can get some time, and that applies to both the men and the women's sevens team.
Suva Rugby is already hitting the field, gearing up for the much-anticipated double-header clash against Nandronga in a month's time. Suva will face rivals Nandronga in the first round of the Skipper Cup on the 25th of next month at Lawanga Park in Singatoka. The match will also serve as a double-header for the physical Fairbrother Trophy. Meanwhile, Suva Rugby Club competition and its start date will be confirmed after its special general meeting today at the RFNS Naval Base. The Fiji National Rugby League is expected to kickstart their season in August. Initial plan was for the FNRL's competition to start on July 18th, but since the sport's return to play according to pandemic protocol has not been approved by the government, the competitions will be played at a later date.
We welcome the announcement by government to relax restrictions on contact sports, and we're looking forward to the earliest date between August.
A weak trough of low pressure lies to the west of the group and is gradually moving east towards the country. Cloudy periods with some showers and possible isolated thunderstorms over the eastern parts of Vanuatu, Taveuni and nearby smaller islands. That is your FBC Morning News. Join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. And remember, in times of crisis, you need factual news that you can trust. Stop believing fake news about the COVID-19 on social media. Fight misinformation by getting only the facts about coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio, and digital media news. Keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.